you love wrestling, it's we love wrestling.
Welcome to Women on Wednesdays. Today's a special day. With me, I got Nicole from Down for the Count. I got Maddy from Top Rope Squishy. If you're looking at this, I think it's to my left. Yes, to my left. We have somebody. If you're on Instagram, you see her matches go up all the time. A ball of energy. Every time you see her on the TV, you know her energy radiates off of there. She was ranked number 98 last year among the top 100 women in PWI. We have Miss Willow Nightingale here today. How are you doing, man?
Hello, I'm doing well. I am getting ready to hopefully rank a little higher in the PWI Women's 100 this year, but we'll see. We never know. Maybe I won't even be on it, which would be a little sad.
No.
That the president
Won't be on.
So
Come
gotta
on.
keep climbing.
Don't say that.
I'm saying top 50 right now.
That's what I'm hoping. I don't
You-
know.
Yes.
I really want to say top 30, but I think top 50 is a good to go. But I see a big jump. I thought you was a little low last year, but that's neither here nor there. But Willow, the first question I always ask before we get started is, why do you love wrestling, or what started your love for wrestling?
So I started my love for wrestling because when I was a kid, I used to hang out with my cousins all the time, and like in my age range, I was the only girl, and obviously we would fight because we're family and that's what we do. So we'd fight, and we'd also play like the video game SmackDown vs. Raw together all the time. And eventually I was just like, why don't I watch this? Like, this is a lot of fun. So I started watching wrestling, and pretty immediately I was like, yeah, this is like the thing. This is the thing that I love. And I've kind of like had periods where I don't watch it as much, and then like I'm super crazy about it. And then eventually I fell back in love with it, like completely wholeheartedly, and I was like, I'm just gonna do this. I have to do this. I love it. And now it consumes my entire being. But I say that with a smile on my face, as you can see.
Good stuff. Like to hear. SmackDown versus Raw. What year?
I think it was the original, or which one was like my favorite to play.
Ooh,
so that was probably like 2005, 6-ish, maybe like around that time.
2005, yeah. What system? That's the better question.
PlayStation. Always
Okay.
PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's what I have it for.
Yeah.
Got it.
I have an older brother, and he still has a PlayStation 2. So that he could play like his old favorites.
And it still works.
I mean,
wow,
like,
that's crazy.
Great, but
I still have a
one. Hits that spot at home. You have one too?
I have a PS1, a PS2, a PS3, Xboxes. I have pretty much all the systems. Big gamer house here.
I don't play video games besides Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's like I have a Nintendo Switch. Like, that's really all I do now.
Nintendo Switch.
I'm stressed out enough in life. I don't need to be playing a game that stresses me out more. So I like Animal Crossing because you just wander around and you just do whatever. It's
exactly very like low pressure, low stakes.
Yeah.
It's fun and taking
and here I am.
Stuff around.
I'm here with the shooters.
Yeah. I got enough going on in my life.
Enough intensity going on at the I don't need that.
I got game systems too, but I play like the Marvel games, so that's me.
Okay.
Yeah. Animal Crossing is that game though, but we're not gonna talk about that. I don't want to lose some credit here.
I have to look into that because I don't have it.
Yeah, I'm on the Switch. Let's go with Maddy because I'm gonna come back later with some stuff. But
snaps! I get to start. Yeah, Willow.
Hey there.
Hey, nice to meet you. I love what you're doing. By the way, in the ring. You're a really powerful wrestler, so I love that. But I heard that you're also a piercer.
That is true. When I first started wrestling, I was working at a movie theater at the time, and then I was kind of like, oh, I need to take this weekend off. And like when I first started, it was just like one weekend at a time, of a month at a time. And then it kind of started being more and more. And they were like, you work in a movie theater. Like, this is when new movies come out. We need the most people on the weekends. And I was like, yeah, this doesn't work for me either. So I started looking for another job. And this local tattoo shop was looking for like front desk help. And I was like, hi, I can be there any day that I'm not wrestling. And I'd love to help however I can. And they hired me. A couple months later, my boss was like, do you want to learn how to pierce? And I was like, absolutely.
Wow.
So, I trained to do that for a bit, over the course of months. And then I like practiced on my friends, and I was like, does that seem right? And then she was like, yeah. And then slowly but surely, like, our regulars like would let me pierce them with her supervision. And, now I just am a piercer. So I've pretty much been doing it the same amount of time as I've been wrestling, like a little bit less.
So you still do it?
Yeah. I had taken a few gaps in it, like when I'm injured, depending on like the extent of the injury or what I've had to take time off for in wrestling. Usually that coincides with taking time off of like piercing as well, because it is still physical in a way. Like you're hunched over people, you're being like very careful, like focusing in on the details, using like your muscles very like slowly, like a lot of concentration. So I've taken like gaps to do that. And I'm kind of taking a pause right now while I'm in the process of moving, because I had left my old shop like a few months ago, because my wrestling schedule was getting like super crazy, and I knew I was moving anyway. And they had like brought in a new piercer, and I was like, you guys don't need me right now. I'm gonna take And then the shop that I originally like started piercing at in New York opened up a new location. They were like, please come work for us, we miss you. So I was like, yeah, this works out perfectly, because I wanted to move back to New York anyway.
So you pierce in New York?
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to go pay you a visit. Because yes,
I've fans visit me at the shop before and like stay for an uncomfortably long amount of time.
I won't do that, I promise.
So I stopped like saying like, this is where I work, because I used to push it on social media, because I take a lot of pride in the shop that I work for. But now I'm like, oh, if you want to know, and like I know you're cool, like I'll let you know.
Yeah,
or else it out there.
Or else it gets a little stalkerish.
Yeah,
that is cool. Well, I always liked getting pierced, so I too would like to know whenever you're going over there, because I will go.
Yeah, I want to get the bar here. So anyway, offline.
I'm good.
You want one too, Terry? No? Okay.
I'm good.
All right. So I love your name and your outfit and your character. You're obviously a face. What helped you like get that character, get that name? Like what you usually do in order to like focus on what you want to do and what you want to be and what you want to portray in the ring?
So it's funny that like I'm talking about this now, because just last night I was talking to my little sister about how the person I originally envisioned myself being as a wrestler is very different than who I ultimately became and like am living as now. I really wanted to be like a badass heel, like who just didn't give a crap at all, or like whatever, just very the opposite of who I am as a person. Right. And my first couple matches I did as a heel, and then I did like one match as a face or whatever, and they were like, no, that's it, like that's
you're done,
that's who you're supposed to be, that is like you are a natural at that. And so when I started doing that, it was very like fake it till you make it. And then eventually I was like, oh, I just have to be myself. Like, I don't have to fake anything. I just like be this like really weird kid that I've always been, and just make it louder and like make it more like over the top. And it seems to resonate with people. So I kept doing it. And like, obviously I've grown and like evolved as humans do as a person. And Willow has with that. But there's still that like core authenticity and like genuity of who I am.
Right. Is there any chance that you'll ever go heel again?
I mean, maybe, you never know. But it's definitely like when I do it, like if ever I do it now, I'm like, I don't feel like driven or motivated to wrestle like this. Like it's like
Gotcha.
it just doesn't make any sense. Like if there were ever a situation where I felt like I could pull from genuine like anger, bitch or whatever.
What the hell's wrong with Cherry?
I got
He's
that.
feeling something.
I got
He's feeling
that
something
because
about
she
what you
said it a genuine situation. Mania weekend, hot girl shit. You know, Brooke faked the injury on you, and then you know.
I spoke to Brooke after. Obviously, we tagged heads, and Brooke is someone that I actually very much admire, and someone that I want to see succeed. And I've been like very happy to see her kind of get bigger platforms and grow and get her name out there. She's kind of like tucked away in Iowa, or was, not so much now, and didn't have like as much buzz going. And I think she's incredibly athletic. She's beautiful. She's charismatic. Like she's got all the things that are like star power, star. She's like, hey, you are the more established talent going into that match, and I'm the underdog, and I deserve to be a star too, and I just want to win. And I ended up winning at the end of the match anyway. So I was like, listen, I hear you. I understand. I get it. Not cool, but like, I respect you. All love, all respect. See, I always try to see things from both sides, and like, it's hard for me to get angry at people.
That was a great match. Please go watch that match, people.
Yes, it was a lot of fun once I was able to look in retrospect.
Those are the things that will make you go heel. So when you are not wrestling or piercing, like what are your favorite things to do when and if you have any time?
So now I'm like thinking about, I'm like, what do I do? For the most part, I just like, really enjoy watching like TV with my boyfriend, scrolling through TikTok, like, you know, usual procrastination type of things.
I hear you.
But I do like craft. I'm very much like creative and artsy in that realm. Like I make my own gear, so a lot of that time goes towards sewing. I like to draw. I think like, you know, I'm piercing now, but I think whenever I am ultimately done with wrestling, I'd really love to be like an art teacher. If there's any way I can find a way to like work going to school and wrestling at the same time, I'd like to get that done and work towards that in the future. But
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I just really like kind of flexing those muscles as well.
I love that. You are so artsy and creative. Like, is there anything Willow doesn't do?
I'm not super great at cooking.
I'll take that one. It's about the only thing I can do right. I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to pass it on.
Sure.
I've seen you in intergender matches. I've seen you in tag matches, and I've seen you with one-on-one on women. What is your favorite type of match?
My favorite type of match is really I find myself looking forward to the most like singles matches where I work with competitors who I kind of get a little nervous to wrestle, like people that I admire a lot and like want to learn from, and also kind of want to impress. Like if I'm wrestling you and I'm like, I hope they think I'm good when this is over. Like those are the best. Those are my favorite. And awesome. I've been in that situation in matches with both women and against men. So I don't really have a favorite in that sense.
Right.
But really anyone who's going to like push me,
challenge you,
put on the best match, which I don't know if that's a cop out, but
No. Yeah. It's not a cop out. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. Thank you, Willow. I guess Nicole? Nicole's next.
Susie. Hi, Willow. How are you doing? Again, thank you so much for speaking to us. So I just want to answer. You're the one answering. I'm asking some questions here for you. So Maddy talked about a little bit about, obviously, about how you being a face and being what I like to call pure baby face. Do you think so? Which one do you think is harder, you being a face, or even though you weren't a heel for very long, or doing that? Because there's always two different things. People always say, well, it's harder to be a heel because you have to get a negative crowd reaction, not just silence, and then people say it's harder to be a face because you have to have people genuinely like you and want to root for you.
So from that kind of like a very objective perspective, I think being a face can be harder. Mm-hmm. For like the exact reasons that you mentioned. Like, if you can't get people behind you, being a face is very, very hard. Because then it's just like, why does anyone care? Like, it does care. Yeah. Whereas, like, if you're a heel and people hate you, it's like, okay, well, you're supposed to hate me. And then if they like you, like, buy my merch, right? So, like, being a heel, you can kind of win in either realm in that aspect, as long as you're, like, a good wrestler. But I think being a face has come naturally to me because this is what I've been told. In some ways, I am viewed as, like, very much an underdog. Like, yes, I have the strength and power advantage in a lot of matches, but from a very traditional, like, systemic kind of standpoint, I am the opposite of what you've always been told is, like, the person you're supposed to cheer for, or the person you're supposed to like, or the person who's supposed to be the best. I look very the opposite. I act very the opposite, except for maybe, like, the bubbly demeanor. And because of that, people are able to be like, no, but, like, I relate to her. Like, she's relatable. She's not like some Barbie who is perfect and does not make mistakes. Like, I thrive off of my anxiety and mistakes. And I'm like, oh, it's cool, it's fine, everything's okay. And that's why people have, like, kind of broken down to me, like, that's why people can get behind you. And half of me is like, is that a good thing? But hey, if it's working for me, I'll take it.
I always feel like it's not bad being the underdog until us, like, especially when you have the talent and everything to back it up. I feel like some people might think, like, oh, there's the underdog, but I feel like you can really take the bull by the horns with that and really run with it. And I think you're someone who's been running with it. Speaking of running with it, and then Terry will probably touch on a little bit of this later. You have literally been everywhere. Like, this has been an insane year for you. So especially compared to last year with the pandemic of not being able to do so much, and you been able to do so many avenues and go to so many different promotions, like, how rewarding is that, not only from what we were at last year, but as a personal level and as a growth as a performer?
It's definitely very rewarding. There's always this feeling of, like, but I want more. Like, I need more. Mm-hmm. And I have, like, there was, I'd say maybe like 2 months ago or so, I didn't really have the moment to let all the good things sink in. Mm-hmm. Like, I was just like, what's next? What's next? What's next? But through the chaos of, like, moving and, like, trying to get, like, my personal real life stuff in order and being like, okay, like, maybe we'll calm down for a little bit and then we'll pick the bookings back up, like, heavy in the fall. I've been able to actually, like, stop, reflect, think about all the things that I've been able to do, all the goals that I set for myself from the time I started wrestling to, like, a year ago, like, the goals that I set and actually met and smashed, has been really, like, not just rewarding, but, like, overwhelming in a sense of, like, wow, I can't believe I actually do have this power in myself. Mm-hmm. Because Willow is a little bit of a different person than, like, who I am outside of wrestling. Like, she's me that you see on camera right now, who's like, I'm running around in my glasses. Like, my hair's up. I'm the real person. Willow with her hair out and the makeup done, like, confidence off the charts. Like, you can't mess with her. But like, me as a person was able to feel like, oh, I'm Willow. Like, I'm the person who made that happen. So it's been very personally gratifying for me, just the human walking around on the street.
The human shell is
Yes,
what I like to call it.
Yes.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Willow, for speaking to us. And I'm going to kick it over to Terry.
Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. Yes, thank you.
Now we hear you. Cool.
Nicole.
Moving, and I was like, I'm not hearing you, but now we're good.
Nicole said Willow has been everywhere. Let's see if I can run this down. Willow, in the last year, I saw you at Horticulture in Indianapolis. I saw you at Shimmer, Indianapolis.
True.
Mania Weekend, saw you Horticulture again. Saw you Hot Girl Shit. We sponsored an event. I was walking in the back, saw Genocide. Willow was standing right there. GCW run this town. I don't know if Willow remembers this. I was feeling good already, but I saw her and I wanted to say something, but I couldn't because I was like, I've been watching her on TV and live because you got star power. So Willow, when you out here going around, and a lot of people, if you don't know, they believe you are a star. How does it feel going from being on independent scenes, but now you're popping up MLW, Ring of Honor, IWTV, WWR Plus? We can see you almost every weekend. This coming weekend, you have 5 different shows. I mean,
jeez.
Everywhere.
Wow.
Everywhere.
How do I feel? I mean, I feel very humble still. Again, because there's so many goals that like I want to smash, and like always reaching for what's next. And I like, it's weird because like I said, I have confidence. I believe that I am a good wrestler. Like, it took me a very long time to even accept that, to be like, oh, I'm a good wrestler. I can do the holds and the slams. Like, it took me a while to actually believe that much. But then to believe that like I had the pizzazz or whatever, it wasn't until I saw like things coming into fruition, like you're saying, like, okay, I'm getting booked by this place or by that place, and like I'm having a match against this person, and like people see that in me. I still just feel like a person. I just still feel like myself, and I guess really the only difference is I feel a lot more comfortable imparting knowledge on other people. Like, I think there were a lot of times when I could see people obviously frustrated with whatever, or like I would notice something in someone's match where I'd be like, oh, well, they could do this a little bit better. And I'd just be like, they don't hear anything from me. Like, who the hell am I? And now I just want like the people that I believe in to do very well. So like, if I see any girls coming up and like there's something that I'm like, oh, you did this, and this awesome, but like you should emphasize this and work on this or whatever. Like, I don't know, but I feel a lot more comfortable being able to help others, and that's cool. Mm-hmm. I like
that. Now I always see your shirts, Babe with the Power.
Yes.
And it has so many different things about it. Can you touch on that for our audience if they don't know about Babe with the Power?
Sure. So, the name like Babe the Power is a lyric from the movie Labyrinth, starring David Bowie. The movie's a trip. It's like weird sci-fi fantasy stuff. It's really cool. I'm a big David Bowie fan. I'm like big fan of anything that's like wacky. So the song,
I've never seen it.
Babe says like, you remind me of the Babe. What Babe? The Babe with the Power. And they're talking about a literal baby, but the phrase itself, Babe with the Power, I was like, oh, I like that, because like Babe is like, oh, I'm a hottie, like, but also it's like gender inclusive. Like, it's not like it doesn't separate me. Like, I am the best woman wrestler. It's just like I'm a babe and I'm a wrestler, and it doesn't matter if I'm like a woman, man, or whatever in between. I am a wrestler. I'm a fine ass wrestler, and I'm very powerful in terms of my physical presentation, my will to win, my will to persevere through everything that I go through, and my power to like change people's perceptions about who I am and all of the different identities I hold, and the people that I love and support. So I'm the babe with the power, but you can all also be babes with power.
I love that.
Like, power of the people. There's power in numbers. There's power in like being a Black person. There is so much beauty and power in that. Being a woman, that there's power in that. Like, all my LGBTQ buddies, friends, I'm a big ally. There's so much power in them and like who they are. And I just really love the versatility to it, how much layers there are. Even though you look at it at the surface and you're like, oh, it's Babe who's physically strong. But it's like, no, like, we're all multi-dimensional people, and we have more power than we give ourselves credit for. And that's really the root of what Willow is. You look at me, you just see a chubby girl who smiles and dances around the ring, but she has so much more power than you even recognize.
I love that.
Dances. Dances around the ring.
Yeah,
how did you pick your entrance song?
So I like that song just from like, you know, growing up, hearing my mom play it in the car, whatever, grew around to it. And I used to take the train to get to training. And I remember like listening it to one day and being like, this would make good entrance music, but I really like the entrance music that I have now. And then I just kind of never really touched on it for a while. And then like after I came back from my neck injury, I started thinking about like sort of changing the way that I present myself a little bit. Because obviously that's like a big marking, like turning point in my life. Like, okay, I'm a forever changed person after this injury. So I was like, maybe I should change the way I present myself to the world a little bit. And maybe I'll change my music, which I hadn't done for years. And that came back up. I was like, oh, I always thought that would be good entrance music. I tried it out at one show, a Dropkick Depression show, which is like, always support Sarah Calloway and Dropkick Depression. And it was fun. Like, people were into it. But I never really, like, pushed to have it played at other shows. And then the pandemic came and went. I mean, it didn't go. We're still.
It didn't go. We're here.
We're
still in here.
Like, I mean, the part where I was cooped up in my house, not wrestling, not doing anything. That part went. I had my first match back for Beyond on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, and I was like, you know what? This is something different. And it was like my first singles match there in a while. So I was like, this is the opportunity to tell them, like, this is the music I want to use for singles. So I did it, and then I just felt my way out to the ring, and people were into it, and I was into it, and I felt really good. Had like, it just kind of put me in the right headspace to wrestle, and I was like, you know what? This is it. From here on out, I'm insisting I have this music everywhere. So that's how I settled on up with Miss Sherilyn.
I wasn't gonna bring this up, but you did bring it up. You said it in there. Your neck injury. So I first found out about you, and then I believe it was maybe a few months later your neck injury happened. So I happened to be at a Shimmer event, and I think it was one of your first events back. Mm-hmm. And I knew about your neck injury, but you still got in the ring and got on that top rope and did a moonsault.
Yeah, there was a lot of dumb stuff I did that weekend. The moment you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, I was just an absolute idiot. I remember coming back from injury and being like, I'm going to change the way I wrestle. I'm going to make safer decisions. I had someone powerbomb me on the apron. Like, and I did the moonsault. Yeah. I guess
I
I was
just
just eager. I was just showing out because I was happy to be back. Shimmer is like one of my absolute favorite places to wrestle, so I was just showing out. I was excited.
okay, because I remember being there and I was like, okay, she back. I didn't see her beforehand, taking pictures and everything. Then the match started. I was like, this the same Willow that had the neck injury? Because
Don't look like it.
right now she just, okay, well, and being there live, someone comes back from an injury, all the moves and everything. It's like, ooh, so
Yeah,
I was
there's this
invested
extra
in.
like cringy. You're like, just please be safe. We don't need this again.
I was totally invested in the match though. It was.
Mercedes like a few weeks later, I was on a different show with her, and she was like, "Yeah, I saw that power bomb you took on the apron. Like, you need to be smarter." And I was like, "I fucking up. I'm fucking up." Like, oh, okay. If Mercedes is telling me I need to calm down, I'm gonna calm down. Oh.
Man. Last things before we close out here. So I'm going to put you over a little bit. Ring of Honor Women's Division. First round matchup. You was in a match with Allysin K. I saw this match and I felt like it could have been like a finals match. And you didn't win, but at the end you gave it a little look like that. I feel like Ring of Honor can build a story off of that. So are you signed with Ring of Honor? Or I know we'll see you this weekend on the show, but
yeah, I'm not signed. And I'm really enjoying wrestling for them.
Mm-hmm.
I am loving like what Maria's doing, and Bobby Cruz is also helping out, and the two of them have been putting a lot of time and energy into actually making sure that the women they're choosing are people who are like really doing all they can to benefit women's wrestling as a whole. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like obviously AK, I was super happy to work with her, but like women like her, Holiday, Trish, who I cannot say enough great things about. I love Trish. Trish might be one of my favorite wrestlers right now. They're all,
she's awesome.
I find like we all have like a very similar kind of like attitude of like, yes, like I care about me and my career and I want to like laser in on being as successful as I can. But ultimately, I also want to raise those around me. And I feel like Ring of Honor looks for a lot of women like that to do this. And I'm enjoying the time that I have there. I hope I can keep wrestling for them. Like, gonna keep shelling out. But yeah, wrestling AK was cool. It was a little intimidating. That was the first time I've ever wrestled her.
Oh, wow.
And hopefully, like you said, we gave everyone a finals caliber match. I would have loved to be in like the actual finals. But,
tell the truth.
I learned a lot from wrestling her, and they still, Ring of Honor still seems to be behind me a little bit. And I'll be there this weekend, so. Yay. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Who knows?
Sign Willow Ring of Honor. MLW.
Yeah.
AEW bring her back, you know what I'm saying? Do all that. So we'll before we go to this other thing here, and I ask the ladies if they have any questions. I got to lean in a little bit. They know what's about to happen. I look at the camera and I say, Willow, Rock or Stone Cold?
Okay, so I actually think about this a lot, and it's hard because I love them both so much for different reasons. But ultimately, I feel very, from a fan perspective, I feel very Stone Cold.
Oh,
okay.
I like. That's not who I am as a wrestler, as you can see. I'm not like the badass, like, I don't care about the rules, whatever, blah, blah. Like, CM Punk is also one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Like, the whole, like like Masha Slamovich right now, like I feel like she also kind of fits into that category of just like I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want because I'm so cool. Like I am so like I think wrestlers like that. I'm like, you're so cool. Like that's what I wanted to be. Like when I started, like that's what I wanted to be. And I was like, oh no, you're nerdy. Like you are a dork. You can't do that. But like that is so cool to me. Like Stone Cold is just like the coolest to me. Sorry, Dwayne.
There's no right or wrong answer here. We just always ask that question. I'm a tad bit hurt though, but that's neither here nor there. Ladies, do you have any other questions for Willow?
Nicole?
I don't. Thank you. But again, thank you so much for talking to us. And then I hope to see you pop up somewhere else because I feel like there's millions of places that you could pop up new and again and hopefully get signed somewhere because you deserve it.
Yes.
Thank you.
I agree with Nicole. Thank you. Boop, 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 boop. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun. Like obviously, like being signed is really cool, but like I am enjoying myself right now. Like
right.
Being able to travel around everywhere and get like a little taste of whatever's going on all over the place. That's really cool. Cool. So I'm enjoying it for now, but stability is also very nice.
Yes. So let's hope you get signed. Thank you so much for giving us this time. We know how busy you are, and thanks
for having me.
No, thank you. Just don't change. You're so humble. You're so nice. I really, I love this interview. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Uh-oh.
I'm glad I was able to finally make it on.
Hey, I'll be telling them about people. They be like, whatever, Terry, just whatever. I'll be like, they coming for real.
Just give up on Willow. She ain't gonna come on your show.
I do that to like a lot of people where I'm like, yeah, I'll do the show, and then they're like, what's this date? And I'm like, yeah, that date's good. I'm like, just kidding. Came up, but I promise I want to talk to you. Like I'm.
Yo, she gave me a day. She was like, "That should work. I'll get back with you." She was like, it's not gonna go. I was like, oh man, I can't ask again. Then I asked again. She was like, yes, got you. I was like, we in there.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Willow, before our last section, I've been doing something with people, and I'm gonna give you 3 words. I just want you to get a first word come in your head. The third word I give is based off something you tweeted the other day that's kind of I'm worried about. So the first word is Faye Jackson.
Amazing. Is it just like one word, or I could like go on about it?
You can go on if you want to.
We love Faye here.
Yeah,
we love Faye.
Tagging with Faye was like having like a hot older sister who would just like whenever like I didn't feel like my most hot girl self, she would just like grab me by the wrist and be like, get in, like we're changing your attitude, like no, you're great. And she's just like is like that with everyone, really. Like it's not just me. Like I was very privileged to have that time and tag with her, but I just feel like she's just like the ultimate like hype person and just like genuinely cares and loves so many people. And again, same what I was talking about before, she just wants to raise the platform for people that she believes in, like genuinely.
Beautiful.
I love you, Faye.
We love you, Faye. Stop doing all that you're doing though. She know what I'm talking about. Second, well, another person, Sumie Sakai.
Sumie Sakai.
Uh-oh. She faded out on us.
Very knowledgeable. I've known Sumie like pretty much since I started wrestling, and like from the time we met, she had a lot of faith and belief in me. Again, someone who maybe believed in me before I believed in myself, and has just shared a lot of like what she knows about wrestling in the ring and outside of the ring with me, and has just met me with like kindness every step of the way. So I want her to like get all the recognition in the world that she deserves because she's amazing.
Good stuff. The last one, I just happened to see this one day scrolling on Twitter. Thriller.
Oh my god. So let me tell you, going back to the whole tattoo shop situation, we love 80s pop music at the shop. Like, we will play 80s pop all day pretty much. Some days we'll throw in some other stuff, but for the most part, like, everyone's really into 80s music. And Thriller popped up. I was like in the back room by myself, but it was still daytime because like whatever time I tweeted it, like, was when it was playing. And I was like, I'm vibing, having a good time or whatever. And then I just, like, in my head had this flashback to when I was working at the movie theater, and I used to walk to and from the movie theater, and I was walking home by myself, like, late at night, listening to my music, and then Thriller came on, and I let it play for like 2 seconds, and you know how it opens up with like the door creaking open, and I was like, nope. So I had that.
You got scared.
Yes. So that iPod like shuffle like moment was like when I was like 19 years old. And then I thought to myself, I was like, would I respond the same way if it happened? And then I was like, if I was just sitting in my car driving like late at night and that song came on, I'd be like, nope, I still no thank you. It's just like I feel unsettled. Like, I'll suddenly feel like someone's sitting in my seat next to me, even if not, like, I'm okay.
What did he call?
I can't do it anymore. He was out.
I had to leave for a second.
I never see nobody get scared over Thriller.
I do, yeah. I just Vincent Price like talking at the end. I'm like, oh god, I like all the true crime podcasts too. Like, the moment the sun goes down, it's like, okay, we're not listening to this anymore. No more serial killers, please.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm jumpy. I'll be like,
what about the video?
The what?
The music video.
Oh, it's awesome. It's an amazing piece of art. Like, it's like iconic for good reason.
Does it scare you?
Saying I don't like it. I'm just saying it works a little too well for me.
When I was younger, it used to, that. Hold on, never mind. It's not about me. But Willow, the last thing we do here is what we call the put yourself over moment. We just ask you to give our people your social media, any ways they can support you, buy your items, anything you have coming up. We just would like you to put yourself over.
Okay, so on Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at W_Nightingale_. Same for both social medias. And I also do have a Big Cartel, which I think is bigcartel.com/Willow Nightingale. I've got like 8x10 shirts on there. But I'm also trying to be better about being at merch stands because, as you've mentioned, you may have gone to a few shows before and have not been at the merch table. So I'm trying to be better about that and like make sure I set time aside and actually do it and bring my stuff with me. The amount of times I've just gone to shows and been like, I forgot everything. I'm turning over a new leaf, getting on top of it, getting the people the stuff that they want. And yeah, I don't know, just like if you follow me and I don't know, you're just like, Willow's cool. That like brightens my entire day. And that's the best part about this whole thing. Follow me.
That's amazing.
Follow Willow. We'll put all the links in the bottom like we do on each spotlight where you can get it. Now, you said that, yeah, I've been at 3 shows now. Willow hasn't been at the merch table. So come on, Willow. Be at the merch table.
I like have 8x10 and stickers now. I have shirts that I'm in the process of getting printed. So
we buy pictures.
I'm working on it.
Get your merch. We buy pictures.
Do we buy pictures? I got like
I
three.
do.
I got like 3 pictures of Willow. I stopped buying pictures because I lose them, and then like 2-3 weeks or years later, I'll be like, "Oh, look at this! I got these pictures. I got the same one. I got duplicates of pictures."
But I like them with the autograph on them though.
I like collectibles. Oh my goodness, I am tripping. Willow was at Black Wrestlers Matters 2, and we sponsored her to be on the show because we had sponsored the Faye and Brooke match, but they pulled out. And Willow put on a dynamic match with Jocelyn Navarro. I think that was their first time facing each other.
Very true. I'd love to do it again.
Nice.
She's great.
I may have seen them both in 2016 at a Rise event back in the day because I usually go to that.
That was the first time that I met her, so that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. I go to that weekend when they have it. I heard something about Shimmer, hopefully. But you may get another Shimmer weekend coming soon. But Willow, let me get out of here before I say something I shouldn't. Willow, thank you for giving us this time. Nicole, thank you for giving us your time.
Sorry.
Here. We're going to the next one. Maddy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And I'm Terry, guys. And like I always say, if I love wrestling and you love wrestling, then we love wrestling. It's too sweet for the culture.